Welcome to Hot Rod Garage, which is presented by Lincoln Tech. We're going to kick off this show with the Dickies Roadkill project car update. We're bringing back the muscle truck. It's our 73 Chevy C10 that we hacked apart to turn into a sand dune vehicle a few episodes back on Roadkill. And we're going to fix all of that with new fenders, new wood floor, back to street strip goodness. We'll end it all with a tech Q&A session, but first, the Lincoln Tech quick tip.
Hi, I'm Greg Joswick. I'm an instructor here at Lincoln Tech. I'm here with Jason, a student. We're going to demonstrate how to pull a dent out of a body panel. Before we use our tools to remove the dent, we must remove the material on the surface of the panel. To do that, we're using an angle grinder and a stripper wheel to remove the material without damaging the metal. When we're using this tool, we want to hold it not completely flat at a slight angle and moving it slowly across the panel to remove our paint finish. But the reason we're using this is it does not create as much heat as a grinding disc with a coarser pad on it, so we're not distorting or warping or damaging the metal. What we're going to use here to pull the dent out is known as a stud gun. It uses 110 volts of electricity to weld the stud to the dent on the panel. Jason's going to load the stud into the tip. He's going to apply the stud to the lowest part of the dent. As he applies the stud, he's going to push the gun down, making contact between the tip and the outer ring. Then he's going to pull the trigger, and as soon as he pulls it, he releases it, creating a current from the stud to the outer ring, fusing the stud to the panel. It'll take more than one stud to remove this dent in the panel, so Jason's going to apply a few more studs to the low part of the dent. What Jason's holding here now is a slide hammer. What this tool is going to do is it's going to screw on and attach to each one of these studs one at a time, and he's going to use the slide action as a weight to pull up on the dent, extracting the dent. Jason is going to move from that stud to the other studs, extracting the dent little at a time, moving from the low spot to the higher spots. The final step in our operation before we finish this dent is to remove the studs. I'm going to use a plain pair of pliers. I'm going to grab the head of the stud and we're going to twist until the stud is removed. All we have to do now is add a little bit of body filler, smooth it out, apply primer, and it'll be ready for paint.
Lincoln Tech can teach you how to have a career working with cars. See lincolnedu.com.
Hey, it's the Roadkill project car update, which is presented by Dickies, which is built to work just like our muscle truck. You saw this 74 Chevy C10 in episodes 18 and 28 of Roadkill. It's a 74 C10. We've got an LS6 swapped into it, turbo 400, gear vendors overdrive, forward 9-inch rear end, and it was an awesome drag truck. What did it run in the 8th? I don't remember.
760?
Yeah, so it was like a low 12-second truck, right? The thing's brutal. It's got the best exhaust note known to man. And in episode 28, we pretty much screwed the truck up out of its street mode because we took it to the sand dunes, slashed the fenders out of the thing, put boggers on it, and had probably one of the best times we've ever had just strictly derbying a car on Roadkill. But we also effed it up.
It's an excellent off-road machine, but the furor over the fact that we cut the fenders and put the boggers on it
big.
Was too much, and we do care what you think out there, so we are going to the muscle truck. Today, we are going to get rid of our particle board bed floor.
Which tends to fly out.
Yeah, we've got a new wood bed kit that we're going to cut up to actually clear our step notch. We're going to bend a new cover for the step notch with a sheet metal brake and actually make the bed of the truck functional, the truck look the way it did before, throw the stock wheels and tires back on it, and then go do some burnouts.
Oh, are we? Okay.
I think we should.
I think we should do burnouts.
Not enough tire smoke on the show.
All right, well, let's get to that. As we're working on this thing, we're going to have a little bit of help this time because we got to get all of this done in one day. So you'll see shop manager Kalen dive in. He'll be the grumpy guy. And Scott is the tall guy with the mustache. So if
He
you
looks
see
like
them
old
in
man
camera,
Withers.
Oh, does he?
A little bit.
Smithers?
Withers.
Actually, Kalen's more Smithers.
He looks like every bad guy on Scooby-Doo. Or we would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids. It's your dog. Just like that guy.
That's funny.
Let's do this.
Okay. Wow, that was easy.
I think we're done already.
Step one. With the bed off this deal, you can see my step notch that I put in a few years ago. This is basically a section of the frame that you kick up to give more clearance to the rear axle for a truck that's extremely lowered. This thing is not that extremely lowered, and right now I've got that much up travel, so I really don't need this deal. But it's a pain in the neck to get rid of it, and so we're gonna make it look a lot better by creating a sheet metal piece that goes over it so that when you're looking in the bed of the truck, not only do you not see all this ugliness, but all of your cargo doesn't just fall through and hit the rear end and wrap itself around the drive shaft, which then falls out and pole vaults the truck into the Kia in front of you. Right now, I'm making a template out of just a scrap piece of sheet metal on our sheet metal brake and just bending it to shape. This should be a pretty simple deal, but I don't want to start bending the big wide piece of sheet metal until I know exactly what my angles are going to be. I'm making my template here, which means I'm bending it to shape, and this is a sheet metal brake, which is B-R-A-K-E. I kind of wish it was B-R-E-A-K because braking stuff is cool. But what it does is bends metal in an organized fashion. These can be big and industrial and gnarly. This happens to be an Eastwood do-it-yourself-at-home super easy deal that clamps into your vise. The bending line is right here where it breaks over. I've got my mark right in the middle of where I want my bend. I'm gonna square it up, just make sure we're 90 degrees. Clamp this. And it's as simple as leverage working in your favor. Just grab that and bend it, and right now I'm just gonna sort of eyeball guesstimate the angle that I want, and then I'm gonna have to test fit it and sort of do this over and over to get the exact shape I'm looking for. There you go. Nice clean brake. That's why it's called a brake.
Here's where we're at. We've got the bed off the truck, we've stripped out all the original wood, and Kalen went through the trouble of grinding off the heads of every single stud that runs along the channels on the bed sides. Now, that's the quickest way to get that apart. Brothers also includes these strips that if you feel like drilling out all the spot welds in there, you can install these, and they've already got the square cut holes in there for the new carriage bolts. It will look better, but if you're in a hurry like we are, or you're gonna Line-X the inside of this deal, not a big deal, grind the heads off, keep going to work. So now what we've gotta do is use our reference holes where this bolts onto the frame, mark our hole, and then start cutting, because as cool as this looks, the bed will not go back on the truck because of that massive step notch that's in it. And I don't know if you've noticed, but this truck really isn't that low and doesn't even need a step notch. But rebuilding the bed floor is a lot easier than cutting up that chassis and welding in a C notch. So that's what we're gonna do. There's a certain level of precision that you don't usually see on this show, but is demanded by what I'm about to do here. That is potentially the hole for our step notch. Sorry, Dave. Dave's not even here for this. I love putting holes in his truck when he's not around. So I've got to cut a hole in the bed of this so that I can put the bed over the step notch on the frame rails of the truck. Dave's not here. I'm in a hurry. So rather than disassemble the entire thing, I'm going to cut it right here with a death wheel, 2 layers of protection like I just don't care. Forget cars, I'm building houses. Look at this hole, it's glorious. Totally redeemed myself from the last time I worked on this truck with a saw. All right, now it's time to test fit the bed. Because if this hole fits that step notch, and David can start working on his cover. Like a glove? Freaking fabulous, man.
Well, the truck is now half fast. It's street in the back, it's off-road in the front. After the break, we're gonna flip it around and change the front fenders, put the small tires back on it, and make it what everybody dreams of the muscle truck to be. Once again.
A Ferrari?
Oh, no?
No.
Half fast?
I was dreaming it was a Ferrari, to be honest with you.
After the break, we're gonna come back, flip this thing around, and re-streetify the front end, take the off-road tires off, and yep, we have some brand new fenders to bolt onto it to undo his handiwork.
It's like we're giving it a facelift.
Yeah, I think you're gonna hang those fenders on your wall.
I'm gonna Zeus them on my wall.
That's a good idea.
Last night you saw us take the muscle truck from beat-down POS to a full-on show machine, complete with a new wood bed floor.
That might be a little generous. And by the way, you're still a butcher. You know how I know that? Because these fenders are still bolted to the truck. You saw the episode of Roadkill where we took this thing out to the sand dunes, put off-road tires on the front, and I didn't think we were gonna have to, well, let me correct that. I was hoping we weren't gonna have to hack the fenders, but we did.
You were delusional.
It was a big pain in the neck to change them, and so he just sawzalled them in the middle of nowhere. Wow. So now we're finally gonna fix them, but you know what? These were reproduction fenders to begin with, and that's what we're gonna throw on it today.
Yeah, $88 reproduction fenders.
Dirt
so
cheap.
It's not like we ruined the truck, and it'll be cheap to put back together. It'll just be a lot of work because you can't just throw a fender on this thing. You've got to take the hood off, you've got to unbolt the bumper, you've got to unbolt the fender from the core support.
Do we really have to take the bumper off?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, well, get to it.
Where are you going? Shit, I'm doing this by myself. Okay.
Did you see how this fender just filleted this tire?
Dude, that's gnarly.
I know, look.
Is that from this?
Well, it had a hook on it from his initial job that was really bad. This is in fine craftsmanship compared to his first hack job.
Come on, let's tell the entire story of what happened, though. Okay.
I was there. I'd like to hear it.
No. I wasn't. So we go out there with a plan. I know I have to cut these fenders. He's delusional. No, we'll be fine. We'll go without it. I'm like, no, we got to cut them. So I bring a Sawzall and a cordless die grinder with a cutoff wheel. My intent was to use the cutoff wheel to cut the fenders, except we drove out there with a generator and no gasoline. So then it was, well, all right, all we got is this Sawzall with a blade that's way too long. And so the Sawzall cuts like butter through the outer layer, hits the inner layer, and goes sideways. So I had no control over it, and halfway through the deal, the PA comes back with gas for the generator, and I finish with the die grinder.
Did that sound like a lot of excuses to you?
I don't know what you're talking about, sir.
Dude, I'm a professional hack, all right?
Dude, you don't have to take the bumper off. Look. Ta-da! See how it's all black E-coated in here? Aftermarket, not original.
Before we put the fender on, we're going to replace the original, I don't even know what you call these things, nut certs, J-clips, you can call them whatever you want, but these strip out all the time, especially when they're rusty and you try to break a bolt loose. We've got brand new ones here, and they're just going to slide into the pocket here on the fender and tap in place. Now we can put the fender on.
Well, I was trying to win getting my fender on before they even got that one off, but then I noticed that the tire is ramming directly into the fender. So I got to take that off
yeah,
first.
we can go off-roading with these, no problem. We'll just put a lot of air in the bags.
That's right.
Look at souvenir. Dave already put the fender on, and that actually makes putting the inner fender back in a little harder. At the very least, you have to take the wheel off. If you can do it out of order, put that in there first, then put the fender on. Otherwise, you're going to scratch it up kind of like the way I'm going to scratch it up right now. Our fenders are bolted onto the truck, but they don't quite line up, and that's because we haven't installed any shims behind the sheet metal. Now, ideally, you're going to line them to the body line in the door, which should already be lined up to the cab. And you're going to use that bolt there to set the height of the fender, and then there's another one here right at the top part of the door jamb and another one at the bottom. Those are going to set the distance in and out on the fender. And when you're all done, the door should shut. You should have a nice gap from front to back here. And hopefully you won't be stacking 10 or 12 of those together to make it all line up. Well, you can't be mad at me anymore. The fenders are no longer hacked up, and you actually have a bed floor in your truck.
Better than ever, got to admit it. And still sounds good.
Prove it.
It started, it even runs.
This tastes really horrible.
That tastes really horrible because that's not beer. It seems that Finnegan was allegedly mildly inebriated on one of our question and answer sessions. So yeah, I got the call from Human Resources. No more beer in the shop. However, we are well stocked. No, root beer is not going to cut it. Bacon soda. That is awful and doesn't taste a thing like bacon.
It's like peroxide or some sort of cleaning product.
That is terrible.
Lester's
Bad
man.
Here, you can go for the teriyaki beef jerky.
Beef drinker teriyaki beef jerky soda. I don't think this is gonna go well either.
The rest of these are pretty normal. Video guys set this up for us.
Oh my God!
Is it that bad?
It's horrible. Try it. It's try it. Drink it. Drink it. You have to drink it. I drank it.
Oh, that is awful. No, I cannot. I'm not gonna make it through this.
What has been tasted cannot be untasted.
Someone called Shakalaka Hug wants us to tell him or her what's the best sounding V8 engine. And I hear people say that all the time. Let me just get this out of the way.
Flowmasters.
I hate it when, yeah, exactly. I hate it when people are like, ooh, I love the sound of a Hemi. I'm sorry, I would defy anybody to take a 700 horsepower Hemi and a 700 horsepower big block Chevy and tell the difference between the two of them.
I'm totally with you, but the 302 in the Fox body, for some reason, when you put
Those sound different.
put Flowmasters
Yep.
on them, great sounding engine.
No, you can definitely tell that. I think that has something to do with a firing order. That has the different, but an LS doesn't sound like it, and it's got a firing order swap.
So, when I was in high school, auto shop, my teacher, Mr. Anderson, he's also one of the football coaches, told me the reason that it sounds that way is because the distributor's at the front of the motor, which I don't.
That makes no sense whatsoever.
He coached football. I don't know.
I'll tell you the magic, though. Here's the Roadkill magic on actually making good V8 sound. Cherry bombs. 3 to 4 inch glass packs. A Dynamax Bullet cherry bomb, only about this long, wide open throttle, make anything into a race car. Yep.
3-inch exhaust pipes. Just make everything way too big. John Boyle wants to know which show car has been our favorite. Does he mean which car on Roadkill or which show car? Like
Favorite car on Roadkill? Charger.
Yeah, the Chargers.
For sure.
And you'll see why like 3 weeks from now.
Episode 32, the one where we do a shootout with Subaru Legacy. Epic Charger footage.
Yeah, that car becomes a legend.
It does. It's fantastic. Hassan Gill wants to know if anybody from the video crew drives something cool. Video Travis from Roadkill does. He's got my old
sold him a
Gremlin.
lemon, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you know what? Video Mark has also got one of my clapped out old
Sold him
pickup
another
trucks.
lemon, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is that gone yet? Did you sell that? No, Mark didn't sell that yet. Clapped out 73 or 4 Dodge 3/4 ton long bed with a 400 in it that we bought. It's actually in the episode with General Mayhem when we built it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did the people ever find out about how bad it shakes though?
It's not in his Craigslist ad, I know that. And Video Clint's got his Talon, right? And his Scout. What other video guys have good stuff? Did you know Video Dustin got rid of his Purple Ranger and he got a new Grand Cherokee?
He still swears it's blue though.
Yeah, well, it's gone now, so prove it.
Barney truck.
Randall wants to know if we're going back to the Cosworth Vega. I misspoke. In the episode where we built the 50 GMC truck that we pulled out of Turner's Auto Wrecking, we found a Cosworth Vega in the junkyard. And I think I quipped really quick, oh, factory mechanical fuel injection will never get this running. I should have said factory antiquated electronic fuel injection will never get this running.
Mechanical, was
No,
it?
it's not mechanical. It actually has a rudimentary computer on it. Because of that, I'm gonna say we would never get that thing running out of the junkyard.
Yeah, and then you're tempted to just modify it, and then the Cosworth freaks get mad at you, so...
And by modify, you mean put an LS motor in it.
Something. So there's no reason to go back and get that one, especially when we have a Monza in Pennsylvania that's very similar. How old are you?
Mike Costello wants to know, how old am I or are we?
I don't
Today's
even,
my birthday.
I don't know how
I am
old you are.
47. Oh no! Here it comes. Bacon cake.
Does that say 86?
That's perfect. Thank you, everyone. That's awesome. This is literally bacon cake.
That looks
Wow.
good. That's gotta
It's
be better
cold
than that
bacon
soda.
cake. It's like eating stuff off the floor in the Ranchero deal.
Where do you think you found it?
Oh, but
Wow.
it smells better. It smells good.
It's way better than the bacon soda. Thank you, everyone. That's cool. So that's it for this question and answer session. Check out our Facebook page, which is Facebook, what is it? Hot Rod Garage Show. You got to add the show on the end of it and look for the thing every month that we're going to post, sometimes more than every month, that says, we're ready for questions on our show. Tell us what you want to know because we'll be reading off your name, answering your questions, and having a little bit of fun. See you next time, question and answer session.
And if you really want to be a stalker, he's on Twitter, Instagram.
I don't tweet.
You don't?
Nope, I do have a new Facebook page though. I started Facebook Freiburger's Junkyard.
I saw that today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Nothing but junk. All junk all the time for all the people who are offended by it on the Hot Rod page and my personal page and the Carcraft page and the Roadkill page, and etc. All junk all the time. Freiburger's Junkyard on Facebook. Check it out.
We just knocked the bottom out of another killer episode of Hot Rod Garage presented by Lincoln Tech. Check back next time for more bad ideas and good burnouts.
I'm not gonna make it through this.
Food has been tasted, cannot be untasted.
Oh, that is disgusting.
Even the butterscotch root beer doesn't really...
Teriyaki beef jerky. Okay. Wow. So, what's our first question?
Oh, wait. Tastes like a son of a bitch. Open me up.
You can just lick my arm. Action.
I didn't want to talk over you. I didn't know if you were going to go or...
We're gonna drill down here.
Okay.